Radio.
Welcome to A Kind Voice on Movies. I'm your host, William Battle. Our guest today is Paola Sinisgalli, founder of TheCreativeShake.com and director of the upcoming film Without. Welcome to the show, Paola.
Thank you very much, William, for having me.
How are you doing tonight?
Very well. I'm very happy about everything that's been happening these past couple of weeks.
Well, certainly with the excitement of Without coming out, you know, it's one of those things getting your first feature film there seen by the world.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting the way the world of crowdfunding works. It's a sort of emotional roller coaster every day. You don't know, what's going to happen. One day it might be 0, the next one might be 2,000. And it's all about people believing in what you're doing.
And we certainly believe in what you're doing. That's why we have you on the show.
Thank you again, William. I don't know what else to say, really.
well, let's start by talking about you and your journey towards making this film, where you started. Your education and career started in Italy and eventually brought you to New York City, correct?
That's right. I was born and raised in Rome until I was 18. And I've always frequented American school since the age of 11. I have a very thick accent, but I can, keep a conversation. And then I moved to Milan, where I studied economics and marketing. And then after I graduated, I moved to New York City because it was, a dream, like, all the people who are here approximately.
Right. And
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Nothing. So I looked for a job and I got hired in a sort of ad agency. And then from then on, it was very, it was all like an exponential curve. Everything went very well. I won the green card, and I stayed and I founded the TheCreativeShake, which is a communication agency. But that's where my passion for movie comes in. We started making videos. And then from there, Without.
Well, that sounds like a really great journey, and sounds like that you've put a lot of time and effort into where you are now, and you've had the opportunity to travel and work all over the world and meeting a lot of people before you came here. Do you have any favorite stories or moments from your travels?
What I can say, I can link it back to the Kickstarter experience. Everything that is on Kickstarter, it's from previous experience. All the people that I've met throughout, my experiences abroad have supported me in the process. So everything everything that we got there comes from other people that we've met in different parts of the world. Like some of the donations came from Australia, some of them came from Italy, some of them from England, from everywhere in the world. An experience abroad, and this is crazy. I was in Costa Rica 2 years ago, and one night I was talking to the owner of the, let's say, pension in which I was staying. It was this little village in the middle of nowhere, and this guy, his name was Riccardo, if I'm not mistaken, he started telling me and a friend of mine whom I was traveling with about some local stories that are completely crazy. And the true story, like the story that he was talking about, is actually the subject of Without. So the short movie is actually based on a story that someone told me during the travel, and I always kept it in my mind and heart. And then I decided to write a subject about it and build on it, and that's how Without came about.
So what was it about that story that captured you so much?
It was very interesting for me to hear it, because it was all about life in some, realities that are far away from an urban context, like New York, or like LA. I've always lived like in big cities, but I've always had the luck to visit small villages because of my dad's origin. He's from a small village in southern Italy, and every summer I went there, I got the chance to really see what life is about in a small reality, and talk to people there and be part of it, at least for like a month every summer since I was born. And the story that this guy told me was applicable to any small local context in the world. When he was telling me, I thought it was a story from my dad's region, from my dad's village, but I was actually in Costa Rica.
Right, so it was something universal that anybody could relate to with the story.
Absolutely, yes. It's let's say it's relative to any small local context in the world. I was in Costa Rica, but I was thinking of southern Italy, and I'm sure any rural small village in the United States will understand without, because it's so it's about humanity.
And what you mentioned earlier, after you got your master's degree in marketing management, you left Italy and moved to New York to work for Think, Breathe, Live. Was it difficult for you to leave Italy to come here in the United States?
I was 23, so I was like young, wild, and free. So it was. I didn't give it too much thought. I just really wanted to come to New York because I'd been there 3 months before for an internship, and so I was very excited. And the hardest thing, was leaving family, friends, and what I was used to, which is a completely different lifestyle from the United States, or at least from New York. I mean, I can't speak for the whole of the United States. So the most difficult thing was leaving, love and affection and my country. But I don't know what it is about New York. It makes you feel like you're at home for some reason, because the whole world is probably concentrated here.
Right, and there is a big Italian community there in New York, correct?
Absolutely. In fact, the majority of my friends are actually Italian. I don't know how we connect somehow. But also there are a lot of, immigrants that have moved here a while back. And the community is huge, starting from the Bronx down to Manhattan and everywhere else. And I also have some family in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Connecticut. So it's very, very big. I like a good tourist. The first times I came to New York, I actually visited Ellis Island, and I saw how many millions of people actually, passed the border from the 1920s or even earlier to the United States.
And what is it? Have you been to LA and other places like that, big cities?
Yes, I've seen the United States, and my second favorite, I think, is actually LA. It's very big. You always have to be in a car, but if you get used to it, I think it's fine. It feels like an exciting city that has a lot of different, it feels like a lot of cities all together, and so maybe it reminds me a bit of New York for the feeling it gives me, but not aesthetically and for the lifestyle. I've been to LA. The very good thing that is opposite from here is the weather. Everyone knows that about the West Coast.
Oh, yeah.
San Diego, San Francisco. San Francisco is pretty European. It's a fun city, but again, it's too cold all the time. Like, I was there in August, and it felt like November in Rome or something. Yeah, and Chicago too. I've seen Chicago, beautiful, beautiful city, very, very romantic. I found it to be.
Well, and it's certainly that there was something about New York that gave you that feeling of home above all these other cities, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
And I want to mention that not only have you found great success in advertising and founding your own company, but you've also applied your talents in other projects. You're a published author with your 2011 book, The Italian Apparel Market, which is available on Amazon for anybody out there listening that would like to pick it up, which is an analysis of the possible solutions for Italian fashion. What was the inspiration for that book?
Oh, that is very funny that you mention it. That was actually my thesis, that someone, like this publishing house, noticed it, and they called me up and asked me if I wanted to distribute it as a book, and so it actually got published. But it was my graduation thesis, for which I did a lot of research, and then I wrote it after the New York experience. You know, I came here for an internship, and then I went back to Italy, and I wrote my thesis. And it actually got picked up from this publishing house, and they distribute it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. It's very funny that you mentioned that. It sold a bit at the beginning. Now I think it's a bit outdated because it was published in 2010. So maybe the trends have changed.
Right, and it is a little pricey on there too. I think they're selling copies for $100 or something like that.
Yeah, they did the pricing. I wish it cost less.
Yeah, but yeah, there's certainly a lot of analysis on, is there a crisis in the Italian fashion, and some of the suggestions of what they can do to maybe fix it or change their image and things like that. Definitely from a marketing standpoint on how to fix what they perceive as a crisis.
Absolutely, that's what it is about, exactly. It was a very interesting project for me, because I interviewed a lot of important people, at least in the Italian fashion system at the time, and then I analyzed it and it came out pretty well. I mean, I enjoyed doing that work, and I was very lucky because it did get noticed by this publishing house. Yeah.
All right. What we're going to do is we're going to take a quick commercial, and we'll be right back.
Thanks, William.
There's nothing wrong with reaching out when you need. I'll be there for you, and maybe you can be for me. With a kind voice, a few kind words, an open ear for when you need to be heard, a warm heart. We can make that choice to be a kind voice, a few kind words.
Hi, my name is Azim Kamisa. In January of 1995, while delivering pizzas to help him through college, my son Tariq was senselessly murdered by a 14-year-old gang member. Tariq was a wonderful young man who could light up the room with a joke. In the search to relieve my pain, I needed to find a way to use the sadness from this tragedy to help others. So by the end of 1995, after months of agonizing pain and introspection, I chose to start an organization to help stop kids from killing kids. And I reached out in forgiveness to the killer's grandfather and guardian in brotherhood. We have worked together, speaking to over 1 million youth and adults all over the world in bringing the lessons of peace and nonviolence for 20 continuous years. Now I'm asking you to add your kind voice to our efforts. For a peaceful world, we all need to embrace peace and forgiveness. We need you as a peacemaker, having forgiven the past, any enemies, and at last having forgiven yourself for any wrongdoing. To learn more, go to my website, azimkamisa.com. There you'll find my story in a trilogy of books, From Murder to Forgiveness, followed by From Forgiveness to Fulfillment, followed by From Fulfillment to Peace, as well as a download for a free guided meditation dedicated to your peace. Again, the website is azimkamisa.com, which is azimkamisa.com. It is indeed time for peace.
A Kind Voice Radio.
Welcome back to the show. Before we left for the break, we were speaking with Paola Sinisgalli about her career and working her way up to her directorial debut in the film Without. Welcome back to the show, Paola.
Hi, William.
Well, we were just talking about your book before we left on the break, and not only is that's your only other thing, you also founded an Italian theatrical company called La Bottega NYC with three of your friends to promote Italian culture in New York through production of contemporary Italian theater. Correct?
That's right. You are very well informed. Yes, that's correct. As soon as I came here, I met a lot of actors and people who were into acting in general, and I've always had a passion for whatever concerns acting, theater, cinema, and we decided to do an experiment. We founded La Bottega, which means the workshop in English, and it was basically an Italian theatrical experiment. We took a play which was called Mornings from 10 to 4 a.m., and we tried to, do a show in Italian twice using different actors. And, surprisingly enough, after 4 months I was here, we managed to have, full house on both nights, and people came to see the show in Italian. It was very interesting because it was, a promotion of Italian culture, and for the first time it wasn't, those famous plays that everyone knows. It was someone, a pretty, not a well-known author, not well-known people, and it was very successful. As we were saying before, New York is a city that is full of opportunity, like the United States in general.
Right, and it certainly seems like you seized all the opportunities and made the best of them that have come your way.
All the time, never sleep. You have to, grab whatever you want to do. You have to go for it. Otherwise, time passes and you feel like you're not doing anything. So I completely support the Carpe Diem theory, as you called it, seize the day.
well, certainly, and you're living that example. What was it like, producing for theater? I think was that your first time producing for theater?
Yes, absolutely. My experience in theory was very little. I had done like an acting course, but I went to the theater a lot when I was in Italy. It was pretty easy because the city lets you find opportunities that you never thought of. I didn't know you could rent out a theater for free, and you have to share the box office. So I started looking at. I had been at a show in a theater called, can I make names, The Tank, and basically it works like that. You do your own promotion, you sell the tickets. The theater has to get at least like 50% of what you make, and that's how we did it. Then I started, promoting the play to Italian entities in New York City. As we were saying before, the community is very extended. So I went to the consulate, I went to the Italian Cultural Institute. I called up all the people I knew who called the people they knew, and so it was a very positive experience, and it gave me a lot, of experience in that context, because I started doing different things to put it up, from marketing to find places to actually have the training, to finding a director, and so on and so forth.
That sounds like a lot of work that you put into that, and it sounds like if you hadn't done that before, it was a great learning experience for you.
Absolutely.
And there's still more. You're still pretty young, and you've also written for an Italian magazine called I New York, and your career's been dynamic and shows your ability to multitask and easily change directions.
Yeah, that's one of the I mean, I'm not very technical, but I do what I can in all possible ways, and you will see that. I mean, it's my opinion, I know, but like everything that you do in life, even the stuff that you think is completely useful at one time, somehow in the future will come back to you, and you're going to use it to do something else. It's always been like that for me. And even all the people that you know, you have to, cultivate them if you like them, and if you have to try and always listen to others, because that's how you learn, and you can use whatever they teach you in any kind of field, from personal, social, work, everything. So all the experiences you do, all the people you meet, somehow they will come back to you, and you will see that it was not useless after all.
That's a very powerful thing you said right there, that everything has a reason, maybe not now, but later, and to cultivate and foster those friendships and nurture those relationships, and it all works out to where you get something greater and something bigger.
Yes, I'm convinced it's like that, because it's it's the way my life has been going all this time. As I wanted to mention before, The Creative Shake was founded by me and my best friend from high school, which is someone that I completely trust, since the beginning of time for me. And, it's something that has become, a work collaboration now. Her name is Francesca Bianchi, and we've been, working together like crazy, and it's, it's someone that I know since I was 14, 15.
Right, and if I could make a comparison really quick, as what I was thinking as I was preparing the show, that I was thinking if the Italian Renaissance happened today, happened again, you would be like the Leonardo da Vinci figure of the.
But William, you're really flattering me too much. Let's not exaggerate. But thank you for the compliment. I really appreciate it. I am blushing.
Well, and as I was looking at the Creative Shake earlier this week and all throughout the week, I happened upon your YouTube channel, and
yes.
Just the videos show this attention to detail and commitment to professional production values. And one of the videos that I'd like to point out is the video for The Poet, which shows the classical ballerina dancing around New York City, and you were a producer of that.
Yes, I actually produced it and directed it, because it was a very small production. It was completely out of pocket project, and I have a very good friend of mine in New York who makes fantastic music. He's a passionate musician. He's a multi-instrumental. I don't even know if that's a term, but he basically knows. He's like a Mozart of 2015, really. Like he can use any kind of instrument. He makes all kinds of music. He's very open. And he made this album. His name is Conrad Sanguinetti, and his group is One More Animal. His music is really brilliant, and there was this song that was basically, he got inspired from an Italian Neapolitan singer, and on his song, on this, he got inspired by this Italian Neapolitan singer, and he made The Poet. And if you hear the beat of the song underneath, there is a very southern Italian rhythm to it, which he made into something completely different, in English, where he mentions Soho and the love for this woman that he will never have, because she fades away as soon as they meet. So, and I found it very inspiring, and I wanted to kind of, give the idea of this ephemeral love through a ballerina that joins with the city to dance with it.
Right, and it certainly was like a dreamlike video. It just had like that dreamlike quality to it.
That was the idea behind it. I'm very glad it came out as that to you.
Oh, and I mean, you've directed many of the videos that are the Creative Shake's YouTube channel, and a lot of them are known to kind of resonate with audience from all nationalities. And
yes.
What is it about that your directorial style that you think makes that possible?
I don't want to define myself as a director yet, because as I mentioned in the project and the Kickstarter, Without is my first experience as a director of a short movie, and the thing is that over the years I have grown this passion for cinema, because my mom took me to the cinema 200 times a week. I'm exaggerating, when I was young, but because of this passion that it's always been underlying everything that I did, I watched so many movies. I thought that it was time to start doing something about videos. And so the idea was, first, let's try and offer a video service with the agency. And that actually worked really, really well, because we started making videos at the beginning of 2014. And then we made these, fun videos just for the heck of it. And it actually attracted new clients who asked us for professional videos. And so we started making videos. And at the same time, I had been working without, and writing the subject, talking to a script writer, writing with him, and so on and so forth. And so it's really my first time experience. I think that I'm very intuitive with how I go. I just want a very simple, genuine product that will give a photograph of the main subject through a very specific story. That's what I like about directing. That's what I think, for me, it will be. Of course, it's all, subjective.
Oh, right. I mean, 5 people can go watch a movie and then come at the end of the movie, they've all seen 5 different movies.
Exactly.
And, with going back to the Creative Shake, I want people to know out there that it's not, you don't just do videos. There's also, if they're interested in having a website built or anything like that for marketing for their own companies and things like that, you also offer those opportunities and services, correct?
Absolutely, yes. We offer a variety of services, and this is because the team is very variegated. We are, 2 founders and Sara, and one PR manager. Her name is Sara Massarotto. She has a very strong experience in PR. So what we do is we offer web development, app development. In fact, we've launched quite a few native apps for ourselves. We do branding, so we do a lot of design. We have freelancers that we work with all the time and who are people that I've already worked with, so I know how their work ethic is and what their talent is like. So that gives us the opportunity to be very flexible and offer, all kinds of services, PR, branding. We do a lot of social media management, so we make Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of those social profiles grow. And yeah, it's a very dynamic atmosphere at the Creative Shake. We have different projects going on all the time, and it's growing steadily, and I'm really grateful and happy for everything that is happening.
And we're happy for you as well. It sounds like you're very busy. And
yes.
And what we're going to do is we're going to take another quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. This is your host, Brianna Dinsher. Welcome to the Good News Report, where we deliver exciting and happy news from all around the world. This week's story comes from Raleigh, North Carolina, where a group of loyal customers at a local bagel shop decided to reward a worker with a car. Shirley Ratliff has to take 3 buses to get to her job at a local Brugger's Bagels, waking up at 5 a.m. every single day. The 47-year-old woman had been working at the shop since 2006 and had tried to save money for a car, but was unfortunately diagnosed with cervical cancer a few years ago. This drew her back financially, and she did not have enough money to buy herself a car. The customers of the shop, who called themselves Shirley's Fan Club, gave her a 1992 Buick to show their appreciation for the number of years she has served them for. Now, all she has left to do before sitting down behind the wheel is to get her driver's license. It was definitely a great Christmas present for Shirley, and it's great to know that the customers have so much love for her. I love the fact that the members of the community all pitched in to get her such a remarkable gift that she really needed, especially since it is now winter and there are days when it is really cold outside. Shirley can now take her car to work without having to change buses. It really does show that there are people out there who will help others that are struggling and support them in any way that they can. Today's good quote of the week is, "Despite what we may have been taught to believe, whether or not we love and enjoy this day, this very day, and every day, it really is up to us. and the moment is now. Thank you for listening to this good news story, and I hope it has inspired you to always help others when they are in a difficult situation. Have a great rest of the week, everyone.
A Kind Voice Radio.
Welcome back to A Kind Voice on Movies. Our show is part of the bigger mission of A Kind Voice, which is to make our world a kinder, more connected place, one conversation at a time. And to fulfill our mission, we need lots of kind voices joining in the conversation. So if you're part of some good news, or you come across some good news that should be shared, or you think might be great to be shared during our good news segment, please go to www.akindvoice.org/news and let us know. Before we left for the break, we were speaking with Paola Sinisgalli about her career, and we were working our way up to her directorial debut, Without. Welcome back to the show, Paola.
Hi, William.
Well, as we mentioned a few times earlier, Without is going to be your directorial debut, your first feature-length film. And we mentioned earlier that the story came about to you from a story that you heard while you were traveling in Costa Rica.
That's right.
What kind of can you tell us a little bit about this story?
Yes, I will not go too much in the details because I just want it to be a surprise when it comes out. The story is about a man who unfortunately loses himself into a very sad alcohol, blind road, if you can say that. He is a drunk, and he is discriminated by the village, those characters that we all know that are cut off from society. And this guy somehow, during a walk in the countryside, revolutionizes his life because someone from the village finds him, and something very interesting happens to the character. And the most interesting thing about it is that this story can only happen in a rural context, in a village in the middle of nowhere. Because a lot of times in the street, I find people who are lonely, they're alcoholics, they're drug addicts, and so on and so forth. But no one cares, you just walk by and it's whatever. But in a context like a rural village, that person matters, because although you see them every day and you don't do anything about it, when there is a problem, there is a lot of solidarity, and people will join forces to help you. So it's all about this. I don't want to give off the details of the story, but this is exactly the point. The solidarity that characterizes smaller realities like villages.
Well, definitely. I mean, I can see that, and I was thinking earlier about, there are some people in the cities that could probably relate to the loneliness of this character that you have, but their situations would be very different because of how many people are around. And like you were saying earlier, somebody sees somebody lonely on the street and they're kind of busy and they walk by. But what is it about the small village you think that's different?
I think that paradoxically, the fact that there are less people makes you meet more, and the fact that there is a smaller space and you're less people, you're used to seeing those people a lot more, and they're part of your life. In a village, when in a small town in southern Italy, even if you go out to go buy milk, to go get cigarettes, because in Italy they smoke cigarettes, all of them. You are forced to meet people that but maybe you don't want to see, but somehow you will always see them. So the very interesting thing about villages is that you have this forced proximity to other individuals, whether you want it or not. You're forced to say good morning. Here in New York, in my building, I get the elevator, people don't even say hi. And it's, for me at the beginning, I was like, oh, they're so rude. But I guess it's just the way it goes here. But for me, the most interesting thing is that that because of this proximity between individuals, you have some outcomes of, love and solidarity that are pretty amazing. While here in New York, as I told you, you're on the subway, and unfortunately you see a lot of homeless people, and like no one does anything. You just walk by, and it's really hurtful to see it. And I wish something could be done, but it's harder. I think the main character in the story can definitely will definitely feel close to characters in the city. But the thing that I'm going for is, the actual. It's actually showing that in villages you have a human touch that is very special.
Right. I mean, when you have very few people in a town or a village or something like that, everybody seems to know what you're doing, and whether they want to or not, like you were saying, they do have this connection. Whether it's just a regional thing, or maybe their families knew each other a long time ago, and they're friends, and the families just kind of grew apart, but there's still that connection there.
Yes, exactly, absolutely.
I would kind of say it's like being stranded on an island with a lot of people, or
kind of. That's a very exotic way to put it. Yes, I like that. I think it's a good metaphor. Absolutely.
Right, and it's there's something special about that location that you chose in southern Italy. It was Basilicata.
That's correct. Basilicata, also known as Lucania. It has two names. It's a region that lies between Calabria, which is the tip of Italy, and Apulia, which is the heel of Italy. And it's right in the center, so it basically has a bit of coast, and then it's all, it has a lot of different landscapes, from desert to mountains to countryside to the sea as well. Americans may know it because of a big movie that was made back, I think, in 2005-06. I might be wrong. It's The Passion of the Christ. Mel Gibson used it as a location for Jesus' crucifixion, and he used a very interesting city that is called Matera, which is famous for its rocks. Matera lies on a very rocky ground. Back in the 50s, people used to live in these rocks that are sort of like caves, but right now it's become a very hip location because a lot of directors have noticed it and are buying, property there. And it was actually elected a couple of months ago European Capital for Culture. So even this thing, it happened by chance. It was very serendipitous that it happened while I was doing the campaign for Without. So one of the places will be Matera, perhaps, for Without. Maybe I might shoot some stuff there, but definitely it's going to be in Basilicata because it's where my dad was born.
Yes. And looking at the videos and the test footage that you have up from that area and that region, I know some of it looks like that they may not have the popularity of the technology we have here, so it kind of adds to some of the intimacy in your story.
Absolutely. Basilicata is a jewel in Italy that is undiscovered still. Like even in Italy, it's not that popular. People don't go there because it's very rural. It's very interesting, but I believe it has a lot of potential. What would be like my wish is to promote it in a healthy way. It's a land that needs to be discovered, but by respecting it still all the same. So it would be very interesting to attract some tourism there, but still maintaining that magic that surrounds it right now.
All right, that's that happens sometimes where some place becomes famous. It's like small and quaint, and it's kind of out of the way. It's a jewel, like you were describing Basilicata, and event or something like that makes it popular, and then it becomes this tourist location that almost loses its identity.
I know. Unfortunately, that's a risk, and I don't know what's the key to to success in maintaining that beauty and respecting it. I don't think there should be like millionaire resorts there. Tourism has to. I don't know if you've ever heard of Positano. Positano is a very pretty town that lies on the Amalfi Coast near Naples, and there is a lot of American tourism there. Like if you go in August, you can't even walk because there are so many people. But at the same time, it's still very, very beautiful. And during the winter, no one goes there because it's a sea location. So something like that would be very interesting because, it gives a lot of people work while, people from Positano work during the summer like crazy. But during the winter, they can enjoy it, and it's still as beautiful and untouched as it was, maybe before the 90s or 80s. That's when it started becoming really popular.
Right, and I know some of the locations in the United States, like where they have the Sundance Film Festival, and Colorado is like that. If you go up to the Cape in Massachusetts, I want to say Martha's Vineyard or someplace like that, or Cape Cod, up further north in Maine, there are places where there are tourist attractions like during the summer when the weather's warm, but when it's winter time, it's kind of small, cozy, not that many people there.
Exactly, yes. I've actually been to Martha's Vineyard quite a few times. Because as I told you, I have some family in Connecticut, and they go to Martha's Vineyard often, so I was able to see it. It's a very pretty island, and I think they completely managed to not degrade it by building, huge skyscrapers or resorts or whatever. It maintains the look of wilderness that it deserves, and of course during the summer they have to be touristy by offering parties and so on and so forth. But I think Martha's Vineyard is a good example of good tourism.
Well, definitely, and we're going to take our last commercial break, but when we come back, I want to talk about the team behind Without, and we're going to take a quick break.
This is NASCAR driver Kurt Busch, and I am proud to support our nation's veterans. Do you know you can get a faster decision on your disability compensation claims by filing an electronic fully developed claim, or e-claim, on eBenefits? Take it from a guy who lives his life in the fast lane. Faster is better. Visit ebenefits.va.gov today to learn more.
Hi, I'm Claire Bloom, and I started End 68 Hours of Hunger to put bags of food in the hands of local children who have little or nothing to eat for the 68 hours between the free lunch they get in school on Friday and the free breakfast they get in school on Monday. Our vision is to end childhood hunger in America one school at a time, and that's how we operate. We start programs wherever we have 2 volunteers in a community who are prepared to step up and take responsibility for running the program, and we grow from there. Today, we're feeding 900 children each weekend in 29 communities, and we're growing. If you're interested in starting a program in your community, please visit our website at www.end68hoursofhunger.org and click on the tab at the top of the page that says FAQ. Everything you need to know about starting a program is there, including videos on how to talk with groups, how to set up your space, and even what kind of food to include in the bags. Feel free to reach out to me at end68hoursofhunger@gmail.com.
A lot has changed from when Nola Osh started school until the time she finished.
When I received my diploma, it was a big to-do.
At 95 years young, Nola became the world's oldest college graduate.
If we don't concentrate on our ages, we go ahead and do things as if we were younger.
So no matter how old you are, live life and pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
Kind Voice Radio.
Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, William Battle, and before we left for the break, we were speaking with our guest, Paola Sinisgalli, about her film, Without. Welcome back, Paola. Welcome back, Paola.
Hi, William.
Before we left, I mentioned that I want to talk about the team behind Without. As we mentioned way early in the show, these are people that you've met on your travels, and throughout your life and your career, and you've all come together to make this film. Correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, let's start by kind of naming them and what they do.
Absolutely. So the first person to mention is Francesca Bianchi, which is my co-founder, business partner for TheCreativeShake. She, as I told you, we used to go to high school together in Rome. She's half English, half Italian, and she did a lot of she took she's the producer of Without. She's contacting people. She's the one who made the website, who helped with the graphics and so on and so forth. Then Bruno Cipriani is a gentleman from Rome whom I met in New York 3 years ago. He was here for an acting course, but I found out that his dream was to open his own production company in Italy, something that he's doing right now. And he's the director of photography of Without. He's the one that came with me last summer to film the teaser trailer that you can see on the campaign. He has great photographic skills, as you can see from the trailer, and he's a very hard worker. Those nights that we were spent there going from one place to the other, we slept 3 hours per night, and the next day he was up and running with a 60-pound camera on his shoulder, and great worker. Then we have assistant to director Claudio Di Biagio. He's a very famous YouTuber in Italy. He opened this channel in 2010, I think, and he became very big by doing some gigs on YouTube. And he was hired as a director for many movies in Italy, and he also crowdfunded his own projects. And I met him while he was in New York to travel 2 years ago. From there, we started talking about, film, art, culture, and so on and so forth. And we started working on different projects together. And he's the one who will help me technically in directing. I have my editor, Giacomo Lampariello. He's a friend of a friend who lives here in New York now, and he used to go to an English school in Rome, and he got introduced to me from a dear friend of mine who met him in Rome, and she said, you should meet this guy, he's a great editor. And then I saw his work, we started working together. Very talented, hard worker. He's on Without. He helps me, edit the teaser trailer and the interview for the project. Then I have Sara Massarotto, the PR director of TheCreativeShake, who helps me with all the press. She contacted all the newspapers, all the digital magazines, all the TV programs, because we actually went on national TV in Italy too for Without, and that helped a lot for the campaign. She's the one who, contacted all the press. And Vincenzo Cataldo, he's the script writer from Bari, Apulia, the region that I mentioned before in Italy, in southern Italy. He's the one who wrote the script with me, and he did a fantastic job writing it, coming back to me, giving me one version, working on what I said, going back, changing stuff. Fantastic guy. And the most interesting character of the team is the composer. When I was young, this is another crazy story. When I was young, I was 17, I used to go to Basilicata during the summer, and one night my parents took me to a harp concert in a village in southern Italy. I didn't remember the name, but I found all these videos that I had taken with a digital camera in 2004, and I found all these videos that I had taken when I was 17, and I found this concert that I had filmed, and this guy played some really, I don't know how to define it, like celestial music. It was sublime to hear him. And I went on Google, and I looked up Village of the Harp in Basilicata, and I found the name of the village. I looked for the city hall online, and I sent them the two videos. They were all like pixels, like you couldn't see it very clear, but I said, if you know this person, I saw him in your village 10 years ago, please give me his contact. And after 24 hours, these people replied, which is, crazy timing for Italy. They never replied after 24 hours. This town hall website thing, they replied to me and they said, his name is Vincenzo Zitello, this is his email, this is his number. I contacted this guy and I told him, look, I found your music. I'm writing a subject for a short movie that I want to shoot in Basilicata, which is where your harps are from. Because this village is very famous for harps, and I remembered that, but I couldn't remember the name. And this guy told me, I'm going to send you all of my albums to New York, and definitely I want to be part of the soundtrack. So all the music is original by this guy, and I swear to you, it's really amazing music. It's you have to listen to him, and that's how his figure was born, which is amazing. And then finally we have Renata Pereira. This is another dear friend of mine from high school. She's Brazilian, and we used to go to the American school that I mentioned, in Rome. And she's finished her master's in filmmaking in London, and she's worked for big production like Eat, Pray, Love, and she has a lot of experience in filmmaking. And she would be assistant producer. And this is all for now, but we have, a lot of people coming on board, and we just kept it small for the Kickstarter, but I already have in mind the crew and the cast that we could use.
Right, and I'm still amazed at how you got the harp player.
How crazy is that?
That's you sent some videos to the village, and they replied in 24 hours with a name and contact?
Yeah. So crazy, but the way I found the videos, I had this MacBook that I used when I was in high school to write like homework. It's one of those thick, heavy MacBooks that it could be in a museum now. It's like vintage, not even vintage. It's like I think if I sell it, it's like a piece, a piece of that could be in a museum. And I opened it. An antique. There you go. You gave me the right term. And like I looked through it, I wrote video, and I found all these movies that I've taken, and, it was crazy. The shocking thing is that he's playing two harps at the same time, and while he plays them, they look like, angel wings, because they're put like 45 degrees, and he's in the center. I don't know if I'm giving the right imagery.
Oh, I can see it in my head.
Yeah, and he's playing these two harps like that, and the music is amazing, and I used that music to write the subject, really, and just so inspiring, and it was very crazy how I contacted him and how available he was when I contacted him. And he is an international harp player. Like, he does a lot of concerts abroad in Europe, and to find that enthusiasm in someone who's already way up in his career is wonderful for me, because it can show that, like, to get where he is now, he did a lot of hard work.
Oh, definitely, and hard work pays off. And it would be interesting to see if you could remake or recreate that video with him one day.
Oh, that would be great. I mean, there is a lot of stuff on YouTube, but we can do something professional. It would be great. Yeah.
It would be, and I mean that just goes and ties back to what we were saying earlier, how people you meet and you keep contact and everything, and you can all come together and make something that's bigger than each one of you. That just kind of shows that creative synergy that you all have.
That's exactly what I meant before. That concert, maybe that night, my parents, they probably dragged me out and I didn't want to go. And then I went, and this is what happened. 11 years, now it's 2015, 11 years after, that concert, like that, random, it had a meaning. And keeping that MacBook had a meaning. My mom is like, throw it out, it's old, and I kept it.
Right, and it's those little things in your life that you don't take every moment for granted. Every moment that you have, your every experience in your life, kind of leads to the future, and you can build on it, and you can grow from it, and learn from it, and go back to it. That's just perfect.
Absolutely, right. That's exactly, William. You you really say it like if I was saying it. That's exactly what I meant, and it's the way I live my life, and it's exciting, it's fun, and it's amazing at the same time. It's all these things.
Well, before, in the last few minutes, I'd like to say that you did have a Kickstarter campaign and it's been fully funded, but you're still open for another 4 days. So if people want to contribute to the project, they still can.
Absolutely. I mean, in production, you have so many costs. This is super low budget, and I will use like every penny of what's been funded to make a great project. Like and I know that I will put my own money into it for sure, because the more we get, the better it is. Not to waste it, but to make something that is completely amazing. And when I do something, I do, I say always 101% of what I can do. And absolutely, if people like the project and they, feel close to it, donations are welcome until January 21st.
And, if anybody wants to contact you to help you out with your project, where would they go to do that?
Please, they can go either on TheCreativeShake.com, TheCreativeShake.com, and they can send an email to the general, form, or they can contact me privately at Paola. So my name is P as in Paul, A, O, L as in Laura, A as in Anna, at TheCreativeShake.com. Paola at TheCreativeShake.com.
And we do have a link to the Creative Shake in the show description today. And what I'll do a little later on is I will add one to your Kickstarter campaign page as well. So when our listeners out there can just come to the show page and click, and they'll be taken directly to those sites.
That's great, William. Thank you very much.
Well, Paola, it was certainly an honor to have you on the show tonight. And you. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
You are very nice. I really thank you. You are a great host, and I think a great man too. Thank you so much for what you're saying.
Well, thank you. And you're still fairly young, and we can expect great things from you in the future. I have a lot of my favorite directors are Italian, and let's hope you become one of the famous Italian directors that inspires another generation.
That's fantastic. I wish the same for myself, and I hope that I was able to give the listeners something from our talk.
And what you did give them throughout the show, I don't know if you noticed, is that if they were truly listening and taking in what you've said, it's about seizing your opportunity, seizing the day, carpe diem, like you said earlier, and
absolutely,
and taking every opportunity and making the best out of every single one of them, whether they seem important or not. Just take it and go with it. That's
the general message. Yes. I really thank also A Kind Voice on Movies and Blog Talk Radio for having me as a guest. I'm really thankful for the opportunity. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being on, and I'd like to thank our listeners out there for tuning in. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you.
Hello, fellow soldier, how's your day? Come take my arm, let's walk and sink away. I want to know your thoughts now, yes it's true. And that bluebird, he flew by now just for you. You step outside, you don't know who you'll meet. Go, come link elbows with me. Just know that I am there for you, to hear your voice again. a friend. I'll walk down that lonely road alone, searching for a place to call home. The path is long, we cannot see the end, but the journey's so much better with a friend. Come to my house and rest those weary bones. Drink and laugh, we'll both refill our souls. That cup of cheer you're drinking sure tastes sweet. I'm glad that your acquaintance sided me. Ooh, and you know that I am there for you, to hear your voice, care to lend a hand. In this moment, we'll work together to turn a new kind stranger to a friend. Ooh, and you know that